Wandering Winder back with what I believe is the last day of previews. I think this is all the cards from Prosperity Second Edition Dominion Thing Words. Thumbs up. Yeah, let's jump right in. We have Royal Seal getting replaced with Tiara. Tiara 4-cost treasure plus a buy. This turn, when you gain a card, you may put it onto your deck, and you may play a treasure from your hand twice. So we get the same a very similar top decking ability. This is an on-play effect as opposed to a while in play, but I guess the difference is if they get negated by Highwayman. Highwayman, right? Then this one wouldn't have an effect where the Royal Seal would have. But that's very thin, particularly because you would not get Royal Seal. And I think you will get this card because, well, if it was just play a treasure from your hand twice, it probably wouldn't be that good. But it wouldn't be that bad. Like, if you pair it with a silver, it's a silver that gives, well, it's a silver in that case. In this case, because it has other things, if you pair it with a silver in your hand, it's a silver that gives a buy and top decking. If there's any better treasure in your hand than silver, it's even better, of course. So, yeah, in games with platinum, uh, this right this plays platinum twice, so it's like a much cheaper platinum that gives plus buy. And again, this is a prosperity card, so it will show up more often than platinum with platinum than a random card, although maybe not a lot more often. Um, and you get the top decking thing, which I don't view that as a particularly strong effect generally, but it's nice. Like it's not. I think the thing is, it's not worth going out of your way for too much. But this card is strong enough that I don't think you're going out of your way for it too much. And once you have it, it can be very nice. Um, so I mean, I think this is going to see a lot of play. If you're if you're playing money, then you're going to want to make sure that this is giving you at least enough money all the time. But like once you have some golds or something, this can be even a lot better than silver. It's just a question of what's going to be in your deck in that case. But if you're drawing your deck, you only need to have one decent to good treasure before these can start to be good, right? Those decks want plus buy. Those decks like the reliability from the top decking, and it's going to make enough money, right? If you have one silver in your deck and one of these, you draw your deck, it's a silver. Let alone if you have a gold or any specialty treasure. Um, you double play a supply as you get an extra horse off this. You double play a whatever. Probably not a crown, but you know. I guess the other way you could look at it is it's kind of like counterfeit, but you get top decking instead of trashing the thing you're playing twice, which means counterfeit's a lot better, but this is also cheaper. And there comes a point sometimes where you don't want to trash those treasures anymore. Um, and yeah, this only costs 4. I mean, I still think counterfeit's got to be significantly stronger overall, but this is a good role player, I think. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say you're probably not going to open with it almost ever. I wouldn't think. Maybe sometimes you're just trying to jam a bunch of twos in your deck, and so this thing's going to get you to 4 and 2 buys often enough. That would be the main way you would probably open with it, but it's too risky that you're not going to pair it with the treasure you're looking to pair it with. I guess Lucky Coin. Lucky Coin could be another. You're playing money with Lucky Coin. You this might be a reasonable opening. maybe with goat, like double playing a goat would be a big game. Um, yeah, but the the lucky coin thing would be A, because you have two silvers to pair this with, and you also have the lucky coin, and any of those that you're playing twice, you're going to be happy with. So I guess watch out for that as another reason to open with it. But in general, right, just opening silver this, not exciting, not interesting because they're not going to collide most of the time, at which point you have a fancy copper that lets you top deck, which is just not that interesting that early on. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. Next card is Anvil, replacing Talisman. Costs 3, make some money. You may discard a treasure to gain a card costing up to 4. Yeah, so this doesn't have the kind of explosiveness that Talisman does. And, I mean, if we think about this card, not comparing it directly to Talisman, and you don't have to buy. Okay, I guess my mind is now going to comparing it. Compared to Talisman, you don't have to buy the thing. So, right, Talisman, you hit 5 with a Talisman, you you have to choose, do I want 2 of the 4 or do I want a 5? That was the awkward thing with Talisman. With Anvil, you can gain a thing and buy a thing. On the other hand, if you were hitting 5 with Talisman, you can't afford. It's still actually the same choice, I guess. If you were hitting 6, you can get a 5 and a 4 now. But if you were hitting 5, you still, because you have to discard the treasure, presuming that the treasure did something for you. Like, I'm assuming, so I guess this is what I'm trying to get to. I'm assuming most of the time with Anvil, you're going to be discarding a copper. Um, and this is like Earth's Gift on a stick, I guess, right? So, but I'm assuming you're usually going to be discarding a copper, in which case it's almost like this is just a workshop where it's a treasure, right? You're discarding a copper, which loses you a money. This makes you a money that nets out at 0. It's very, very much like just a treasure version of workshop. The discarding a treasure thing, uh, yeah, I mean, I guess that means that if you have like 3 of these in hand, you're not going to get the workshop effect out of all of them. But and I guess on the flip side, you don't have to discard a treasure. You could just use it as a super expensive copper. Um, so that's also something. You can just use it as, well, I would rather have the 5. Kind of like Talisman, I would rather have the 5 um, than 2 copies of a 4. Um, but being a treasure workshop and only costing 3, I think this might lead to some rushes going on, right? You can open this, and then I guess you're probably getting like um, 3 more of these on turns 3 and 4. You're probably not getting the full effect of, because if you need 5 money in hand to get a thing and a thing with this. That's really good speaking. You need 5 money in hand to get one of these and to workshop one, right? Which is, if you've opened double this, you're going to have, uh, well, 5 money in hand or both of these and 2 other coppers, right? So that line is going to come up a decent amount. And then 5, in fact, you might only be getting 2 a lot of the times. With 5 money in hand, and you have 9 treasures. So how likely is it that one of these is going to pair with 4 other treasures? It's not that. I don't know. Sometimes someone will do the math. Anyway, still, just like you're gonna get to turns where you're gaining two things. Like unlike just loading up on workshop, 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 workshop. If these collide, you're not doing nothing on that turn. Um, so this may be, I mean, certainly more than Talisman, but probably also more than Workshop, a bit of an enabler for like a Garden's Rush, which should be fine because it's not like Workshop itself is a great enabler, and this isn't, this isn't like Groom level at all. So yeah, good talk. Uh, Apart from that, you can't do gain and play with this as well as you could with Workshop. So if you're trying to draw, this is probably worse than Workshop in general, particularly because you're also more likely to have thinned out a lot of the coppers. But you can't do gain and play with this. It still is non-terminal, so it has some pluses and some minuses. Um, yeah, I'm not high on Workshops in general, so I'm probably also not high on this card. But it's a nice enough twist. You do lose out on some of the talisman stuff where you could do crazy things with cavalry or villa or just having some buys and emptying piles. And these things stacking and stacking with plus buys. So you do lose some of that, and I didn't think that was like bonkers broken or anything. Let's move on. Goons is going away for collection, 2 money and a buy. And this turn, when you gain an action card plus a victory token, VP chip, it's a 5-cost treasure. Yeah. Is this Welsh? That dragon reminds me of the Welsh flag. I don't know if Franz Vol Volrwinkel, is that, am I seeing that name right? It's kind of small on my screen even. Anyway, sure. Let's talk about the actual card and not just thinking about the art. It is, collection also doesn't make me think of like an armory like this appears to be. If you put this art on armory, I would be like, yeah, absolutely. It's a good description of an armory. It's a good illustration. You've got a little mace here, a claymore, a hammer. This looks like some armor. This looks like more armor, a suit of armor, some scrolls. Not sure what that's about. I guess this is like a mask, so maybe not exactly an armory. This looks like a little bear, like almost like a Winnie the Pooh in an oversized kind of draping coat to me. I don't. Let's talk about the card. So, 2 money and a buy. It's fine. Like, that's Spice's stats, but Spice's is about the tokens a lot, and this is, I assume, about the victory points a lot. This is so much worse than Goons. Um, how many action cards like? If you get this early, turn 3 or 4 or something, um, yeah, I don't. You know what this combines with? Anyway, we'll get back to what it combines with in a second. In a general average game, it's like, whatever. This isn't doing that much because you don't want to get this early. It's nothing for your deck control. 2 money and a buy is fine, but it's not exciting for a 5. You're not building your deck well, right? If you get this early, so you're going to want to be getting other your other actions first, largely, until you get deck control. Then you can add this, but by then, how many more action cards are you getting in the game? They do stack, so like, if you need to have a big source of points, you can go for this, and you probably go for it some, but it's nothing like how Goons is like, I will just use Goons for my points, and it will completely blow whatever else is happening on the board out of the water, which is less true now than it did like when Goons came out, because there are some other things that compete, Triumph or Dominate. Sometimes you can fight some amount of Goons if you can't stack them so well. But oh, that's interesting. This is the money before the buy, and Goons was the buy before the money. Anyway, whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, it just seems to me like it's not actually getting you. It don't get me wrong. This can score, one of these scores 10 points over the course of the game, maybe that late, which is a big game changer, but it's kind of slow in doing it. You're going to have to worry about three piles, whatever. More of these can score more, they do stack, but I don't know. I don't think that this will have a significant impact on the board, I think, in a lot of cases where you can build a lot, but it's not going to be quite so I absolutely must build like Goons was. I mean, part of that is doesn't have the Goons attack, right? So you can race this a lot more conceivably than you could race Goons stuff, because Goons was slowing you down and not helping you empty anything. This you have to be emptying action piles. That's the other thing, right? Well, not piles. So here's what I think it combos with: horse gainers, and specifically the ones that you can do after playing this. So with all of these treasures, there's some ways to get them in play earlier. Your herb gatherer, your storyteller, your black market, that that playing them earlier can have the more interesting effects, because you're then still doing stuff in your action phase. I guess Villa and Cavalry can also facilitate that, because they let you go back to your action phase. But with this, there's the two horse gainers I'm particularly thinking about are supplies. You just play this before your supplies, and every supplies is also gaining you a point. So that seems like a strong combo. And then livery, right? You've played the livery already, but you play this, and then you buy some four costs or something, and horses sprout, and you get a lot of points. So those seem like strong combinations to look out for. There are probably other strong combinations I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but yeah, I think that's about going to do it here. The only other thing I want to note for all of these is that I think in general, and we've been seeing this um, across previews for quite a while now, I would expect games to get faster. Magnate should make games faster than Counting House, I think. Charlatan should make games a lot faster than Mountebank, because it's less junk, more money, and makes the curses make more money. War Chest going to make things faster than Contraband, I expect. Yeah, Crystal Ball. Most of this is by being stronger, but also the attacks are weaker, right? Stronger than this should be faster than this. Helps thin. Investment stronger than loan, I think. Now this can score a little bit, so it might lengthen things somewhat compared to loan, but clerk. A clerk has the attack, so it maybe compared to trade route, it doesn't do so much. Yeah, this might actually slow down. But Tiara, stronger than Royal Seal, probably going to be a faster thing. Talisman, Anvil, more of a wash. But Collection should make things a lot faster than Goons, because it makes you want to empty the actual action piles. It doesn't attack. It's cheaper, etc., etc., etc. It scores less. So yeah, in general, just continuing the trend of making things faster. Anyway, as always, comments, questions, things I missed, things you disagree with, ideas you have, leave them all in the comments section, and hopefully we'll see some games with these cards before too terribly long. Thanks for watching.